Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're back.
Whoa.
Wow, we took some time off to celebrate Mother's Day, but now we are. We must have missed last week because we're going to do the last three episodes of X-Men. The days are just flying by. Kind of mixed up. I think it was because of the the fan expo that we might have pushed off doing these episodes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So we had a very packed week.
Yeah. Things are happening. Things are quick. All right. We are here to
Things
talk
are
about
emotion.
the last three episodes of X-Men 97, which is good because it's actually a three-parter. All right. So we're going to cover all three episodes and we're going to try to do this all in under 1 hour. So it can be done. So thank you once again. This is Father Son Galaxy. I am Kerwin. This is Keith. Thank you if you're watching us on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. All right, let's get into it. Okay. So let's start with the first one. So this is episode 8. All right. So the episodes are called Tolerance is Extinction. All right. Part 1, 2, and 3. One of the things I recall when, before we started talking about this three-parter, we did do a backstory on Bastion. I call him Bastion, but it's Bastion.
It doesn't really matter if you want Bastion.
But
the beacon, I don't know.
Yeah, but the origin in the animated series slightly changed from the comic books, just slightly. So here, apparently, in the series, Bastion's father is a school janitor, right? And he is infected by Sentinel technology. They didn't really say how, but somehow it just got on him. And
then he had a kid. And that kid also got infected with Sentinel.
Exactly. So he was married, of course, to Rose, I think is Bastion's mother. They had a baby, Bastion. But it's still, if you consider, bringing Nimrod and the Master Mold together, that is really still the way Bastion was created, right? So just bringing those two together. But here it was, it was a woman having a baby, rather than Rose finding this little boy and adopting him. Okay,
which makes more sense.
Which makes more sense. Which way?
The show's way.
Oh, you like the animated episode?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, because he has a mother and father, and he was born, and apparently his mother. Well, I can't just blame his mother, but maybe his parents. He lived in a household that did not like mutants, right? And maybe, I don't know, perhaps they didn't know that her son is a mutant. Maybe the father didn't know he was infected by the Sentinel technology.
Basically, they said, die, muties.
Right. So, they're looking to get rid of mutants. They have this hatred for mutants, but all they're doing is saying, well, I have hatred for my son, who's a mutant, which they didn't know. Okay. Anyway, so let me just go back. And this episode again is called Tolerance is Extinction, Part 1, written by Bo DeMeo and Anthony Saletti, directed by Chase Conley. Okay. All right. So let's go back to, we're talking about episode 8. We got Cyclops and Jean and the son.
Nathan.
Yes, Cable, go back to visit Nathan's home, right? And they find
Bastion's home.
I'm sorry, right, Bastion's home. And we find that his mother is still living in the home. She's, very old. She seems to be very nice and she lets them in, but we realize that she's actually one of those human sentinels, right? And, it's not just her, but Bastion is able to, somehow connect with all these humans, and all at once they turn into these zombies, and they're going after mutants wherever.
Yeah, even Trish was a mutant.
Yeah, wherever they are. Yes, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yes, right. Yeah. So wherever they were, it didn't matter where these mutants were. The scary thing about it is you don't know who's a sentinel because they all look like, well, they're human beings, right? But then all of a sudden they just turn on you and you don't know who to trust, and they're going after these mutants. And they're very powerful. They can fly. You know, they have weapons that they use to destroy these mutants. So they were under attack, you know, by these zombies. Meanwhile, talk about Magneto. We know that at this point Magneto is alive.
Yeah, he is in captivity though.
Yes, right.
So, you know, Val, she's not having any of that. So
Val
she
Cooper
frees Magneto, and she's like, you know, Magneto was right.
Yeah.
Y'all need to shut it. And then, you know, Magneto puts out a global EMP that shuts down the entire Earth's magnetic field.
Now, yes, Val Cooper. All right. Now remember her. You know, she is it a district attorney or she works for the government?
I don't know what she is.
Yeah,
she,
but you know,
I think she has something to do with like the UN.
Yeah. Well, I've been hearing rumors, and we don't know if it's true or not. But I heard that she was supposed to be Mystique. Did you hear this?
Yes.
That she okay?
You brought it up.
Okay, and what do you think?
I don't know. I never got Mystique vibes.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. So, but she wanted to help free Magneto, which she did. And, you know, I wrote down a quote. She says, Magneto knows us. And is she referring to us as humans, us as mutants, or all of us? She says, Magneto knows us better than Charles ever did. Like you said, Magneto was right. Okay. So she releases Magneto, and then he in turn releases this energy surge that knocks out all the power all around the earth. Okay. And we saw some cameos in this episode.
Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man wasn't in this one.
Yes, he was. Yes, I have it written down here. Spider-Man in episode
Spider-Man
8.
And Silver Surfer or Silver Samurai. Different guy completely.
Yep. And Omega Man.
Omega Red.
Omega Red. I just saw the Omega sign. I call him Omega Man. So he's Omega Red. Okay.
The one with the tentacles. Yeah, that's Omega Red. Gotcha.
And then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, these Sentinels, who I said could fly and they can destroy mutants, and all of a sudden their powers are lost and they just fall right from the sky. Very, very scary.
They just drop.
They just drop. Right. Okay. And speaking of dropping, guess who drops in at the last minute in a rocket ship like he's Kal-El? Yeah, right. It's Charles Xavier, and he
everyone's favorite bald broke boy, Charles Xavier.
Why you call him a broke boy?
Because the X-Men shit is broken. He's out of money.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. So he crashes, and then he summons my X-Men, and they hear the call, and that was.
And if you notice, the way they were showing the heads of the X-Men members was kind of like how they would have them lined up in the comics. Like, you know how when they would have the comic books and they would show you what members or people are in that comic book, they'd have like the heads on the comic.
Yes.
That's kind of what it was like when Charles was called.
Right, because, you know, when he summoned them and you just saw their heads pop up. Right, it did look like a panel out of a comic book. Yeah, exactly right. To me, my X-Men, you see Storm and Cyclops and Jean Grey. You know, he's summoning his crew. So that was episode 8. All right. Did anything that we miss about this episode?
No.
Okay. All right. Can we move on? You have something to say? We'll move on to episode 9. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Episode 9 is part 2, written by Anthony Soletti, directed by Emmett Unimura. So in this episode, Magneto is ready to just destroy everything. He has no tolerance left for humans. He is ready to take them down, and he wants to know who is with me of these X-Men. All right, what are you going to do? You going to stay with Charles, or are you going to come with me?
Yeah, so Rogue and Sunspot give themselves up to the homeboy Magneto.
That's right.
And then they go fly up to Asteroid M and live happily ever after. No, so the X-Men follow them to Asteroid M, and a fight ensues.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Magneto throws the wall around like ragdolls, and then Wolverine sneaks up behind him and says, "Bye-bye,
you're going ahead of us. Hold on. All right, hold on. Let me just say this. All right, so Magneto says to the group, you know, cling to this dying world or rise to your future and look down upon this fallen pigsty planet. All right. So yes, you're right. So Rogue joins them. We got Sunspot actually takes also decides to take
Currently
off.
Roberto.
Yes, decides to take off with Magnus. Okay. Xavier on the astral plane talking to the president of the United States, trying to get him to convince him that Magneto is not a bad guy. Don't try to stop him. Don't try to destroy him. Do not declare war on Magneto. Okay. All right. Will the president listen? We don't know. Okay. We'll find out. Meanwhile, Bastion releases more Prime Sentinels. All right. And they're going after the X-Men as always. Turns out that, they have the jet, which Forge is flying. The jet is hit. And you can just see, right? You can see it's on fire, and
Storm tries to save him,
right?
And she goes down. That was really like clickbait, because Forge was perfectly fine. I don't think he sustained any injuries. No metal damage. No other limbs lost. Dude was not even like on fire or anything. He was fine.
Right. Yeah. No injuries. And also Storm, we see her actually falling from the sky.
Well, I think she fell into the water.
And she fell into the ocean. Yeah. But she also survived.
Yeah. But like the water probably cushioned her fall a little.
Could be. All right. But
yeah, just like it cushioned Ahsoka's fall when she was under there for like 3 hours.
Oh, here we go. All right. Yes. All right. So then, okay, so those two, we don't know what happens to them. Now, the Civil War is taking place now, and we've seen it before, with the Avengers. Now it's the X-Men. They're fighting each other, all right? So it's like Magneto and Charles, going at it. And then, you're either on Magneto's team or you're on Xavier's team, all right? So people have taken sides. Okay, and then Magneto, goes as far as calling Charles Xavier a traitor to his race, right?
Yeah, and the Wolverine, he has none of that. And he gets up behind Magneto and he stabs him with 3 claws, which should have done Magneto in, but no. I guess he was too angry to die.
We've seen that before, yeah.
Yeah, so Magneto says, finally, this feud is over, and he says that 50% off. I'm returning the adamantium to the store you bought it from, and he yanks it.
Wow. Okay. And
no refunds. Yoink.
Yeah.
Ripped straight from the comics.
Yes.
Just like the adamantium from Wolverine's body.
Yes, right. Ripped. Literally. I didn't read the comics, so apparently it is from
Fatal Attraction in 1993.
Yes, right. X-Men Anniversary issue number 25, called Fatal Attractions. You're right. And then there was also another issue called An Offer of Salvation from 1983. That's issue number 304. But yes, you're right. And the way it happened, it looked exactly like you would see it in a panel in a comic book, right? And you just see these scars on Logan's body and just something just seeping out of his skin. It looked painful.
Don't make it weird.
Yeah, it looked painful. I won't go into any details about it.
To skip forward a little bit.
This is a spoiler review, right?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to say that. Go ahead.
To skip forward a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as the ending, when they all get transported to different times, what happened to Wolverine? Like, wasn't he still on the ship?
Well, but I think he is
also
in a coma, right? Isn't he?
So he just died there.
Well, we don't know. Maybe
or is he still up there?
So, right. I hear.
Did it like blow up?
Okay, because he was on the asteroid M, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in the Blackbird, right?
Or was he on the asteroid? I don't remember.
Well, either way, the Blackbird was on the asteroid.
Oh, okay. And
did it get out? What happened to Cable too?
Well, yeah. Well, all right. Let's get into talking about the season finale. All right. This is why we're here. Yeah. This is what it's led up to.
So Rogue and Sunspot are able to rejoin the team with absolutely no questions asked. Nobody's mad at them. Nightcrawler doesn't call out Rogue for turning her back, and Jubilee doesn't slap Roberto across the face for being a traitor or whatever. I don't know. There was like no drama whatsoever. Cyclops didn't call Rogue to the stand and say, "You're out of the team. Hand in your uniform and do the walk of shame out of this room." He didn't do any of that. Like nobody had to tender their resignations.
But you know why? Because they're family. No matter how many.
Yeah, but typically when family members join who's somebody viewed as a dictator who tries to kill you, you don't usually want to be near them.
A good point, but
like
look,
not a single question was asked.
Well, as family, you, not you, but family members have people in.
As family, you go side with like Emperor Palpatine and see what happens.
No, I understand what you're saying, but it's family is very important, and no matter
family is forever.
No matter how many mistakes a family member might make or decisions that hurt other people, you for the most part, I can't speak for all families, obviously, but you're always welcome back, and you're taken back into your family because the love is stronger than anything, right?
Where did Morph and his goofy costume go?
I don't know. Okay.
Was he in Egypt?
You want to just get to the end?
Yes.
It's like, wow, okay.
So basically,
okay.
Jubilee and Roberto get back to the surface, and so does Forge. And then they all get shot to the future, the past. So Jean and Scott, they meet future Nathan and Mother Ascani, whoever that is. And then the rest of them, which I find way more interesting, they go to Egypt. So that's Rogue, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Beast, and Charles. They're all in Egypt, and guess who they meet? N7, or AKA Apocalypse. Apocalypse!
You done? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So now that we know how it ends, let's get back to how we got there. All right.
So, they call in Dom Toretto and they use the power of family to stop the asteroid.
Okay. I want to talk about Charles and Magnus, all right? Because I thought this was a very important moment. Excuse me? Because I thought this was a very important moment in the episode, of Charles getting into Magnus's mind. It was very intriguing, all right? So I can understand what Charles was trying to do. He was just, he was just taking Magnus back to an important moment. They kept talking about this scene at the bar, like the two of them speaking to each other at the bar.
It was even in season 1.
Right. And, of course, I didn't see the original X-Men, but
we know.
We get to the...
You need to watch it.
I don't know if I had the time. But anyway, so we get to see the bar scene, all right? So here it is Eric and you got Charles. They're talking to each other. Apparently, Magnus doesn't know that Charles is a mutant, right? So Charles reveals this to him at this point. But then, Magnus realized, okay, well, something's going on. Something doesn't feel right. He knows that Charles is inside his head, right? And what Charles is trying to do is just trying to tell Magnus, okay, here's your past. Don't let your past dictate your future, right? So, what happened in the past, understood. But you can do the right thing right now, all right? So he took Eric through many places in his past life, brought him back to the Holocaust, which is, of course, because
tragic. That's what you do when you try to restore your friend's mind. You bring them to the most traumatic part of their life.
Yeah, well, I think he was just trying to just teach,
jumpstart his memory or something.
Well, right. Well, yeah. Well, part of that was yes, because it was Charles was so powerful that he actually erased all of Magnus's memory. He didn't even know his name, but he had to restore those memories and in turn talk to him about.
So Eric's memories are gone.
Well, not anymore. They're back. They're restored.
Well, Eric's memories were gone. They're back now.
Mm-hmm.
Call him Eric because that's his real name.
Yes.
But he's really not cooperating. So Charles says, I'm gonna do it myself, and then he just makes Magneto send out the pulse
Yeah.
to bring back their electronics. And then the president launches the nukes like an idiot.
Okay.
I don't think anybody
stop.
thought through the fact that when this asteroid hits Earth, it will genuinely eradicate the planet. Did anyone think of that when they decided to nuke a literal mutant who has the power to shut down the globe with no actual sign of effort or stress?
Hold on. Okay. All right. Let me finish up Charles and Magnus. Okay. All right. So there's something that Charles said I thought was very important. I needed to write it down. I wanted to talk about it. So there's this scene where it is as if the two of them are out in the ocean, all right, and the waves are rocking. Okay. So maybe that's a representation of what Eric is feeling at the moment. So one of the things he says to Charles is that he feels cold, and Charles' response was dark pain. That's dark pain carried inside you all these years. I have these waters too. So many do. So many of us do. And while the tide of our past can drag us under, it also carries us to others who are fighting their own current. I thought that was a very well-written piece, that he was trying to get Magnus to know that he's not the only one who's going through pain and suffering, but family is there to help him to get through it, right? Okay, so I just wanted to get that out because I thought that was very important. Do you want to talk about Phoenix? Phoenix played a major role in this episode.
Not really.
He doesn't want to talk about Phoenix. Okay.
The Phoenix Force, aka the Convenience Force, just decides to pop in and say hello to Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And then she just
turns... Well, she did something, right? What did she do?
Sinister, old, and ugly, for one thing.
Well, okay, yeah.
And then blow up Bastion, rekindle the mind thingamabobber, throw it on Bastion.
Yeah.
And free all the Prime Sentinels from their mind control.
Okay. That's important. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Convenience Force vanishes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we see the Phoenix. Okay. All right. We'll go. We'll keep going. All right. Now, as we get towards
and then Jean's like, the Phoenix Force is gone now. And I'm like, gone where?
Where to go?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like, oh, I got your nose. Where did it go?
All right. So let's keep going. We're talking about, all right. So at this point, Bastion he's getting angrier. All right, he's getting very upset with the X-Men.
Yeah,
things are not going well for him.
His fill.
I think Sinister, he saw his shadow and then he ran off.
Yeah. So at episode 10,
he saw the way he looked.
Like in episode 10, Bastion really says, "I've had enough of you. You crazy folk. I'm about to burn the world down." And then he just becomes more and more machine until he's more machine than man now.
Twisted and evil.
Yes. Nice.
Well, of course. Yeah. All right. Okay. That works.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there.
All right. So something else I wanted to say about, okay. So, right. So Bastion leaves, Rogue and all them, and he goes and finds the rest of the X-Men, and then Scott says something that was very important. He realizes now that we need to stop fighting the future. All right, he talked about stop fighting the future.
So then Sensei Wu in season 5 in Ninjago, he made the stupidest decision ever and tried to save the main villain.
Okay, it was silence. Yeah, what is
Scott?
What did Scott do something wrong?
He's the one who's working with the one who's responsible for killing one of your own members. Not to mention an entire town full of mutants who are your own kind. And the people of Genosha. And everyone who was in Genosha, except for Rogue and Nightcrawler and like a handful of survivors, are now 6 feet under. And you want to work with this dude?
Well, I don't think he said work with him, but
You
to stop
want to
fighting
bring him back to humanity?
Okay. What would you rather Cyclops
I'd
do?
let him burn on that asteroid.
Okay. Well, I think he was too powerful to be taken down. I think that's a reason why.
Yeah, but he kind of did get taken down, didn't he?
Okay. Well, what do you mean?
I just would have let him burn on that asteroid, basically.
No, I understand that, but okay. So Cyclops didn't take that route. Okay.
No, but he really should have.
Okay. Well, okay. But he was too powerful.
Actually, Bastion is
like
too
a powerful.
Terrorist.
Okay, exactly. Well, okay, yeah. So he's too powerful for that, right? He, Scott is probably aware that trying to fight him is not going to
So you
work.
say he's still alive?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not talking about Bastion's fate. I'm talking about the decision that Scott made.
I mean, like, leaving him on the asteroid would have killed him anyway.
Okay.
The only reason he didn't go back is because he got sucked into that cliche machine or whatever that was.
Okay. All right. Well, I was okay with what I understood what Scott was going for, what he wanted to say, because Bastion is running with this false narrative. All right. Okay. And you know what it is?
The terrorist.
Well, right. Okay. So I can't speak for all terrorists, but some of them, feel that they have a good reason to do what they do, take away the lives of people. Bastion probably feels the same way, that what he's doing is right in his eyes, but is it really? No. Okay. And here's the reason why: because Bastion is spewing this false narrative and telling people that humanity is not going to exist. Let me see. Humanity is going extinct. All right. Since when? First of all. And then Jean,
there's like 8 billion of us.
Right. And then Jean comes right back and says, well, no, they're not, because they're having babies. Humans are having babies, mutants are having babies. So no, humanity is not
There's so many children.
Yeah, right. And they're having babies, and more of them are like us. Right. So that's wrong. That's false.
I really don't understand why people hate mutants. I don't think anybody hates
right.
Scarlet Witch in the MCU. Well, I mean, actually, I think everybody hates her, but that's kind of because she enslaved an entire town. But before that, I don't think anybody hated her.
Okay. All right. So then he also says humanity would rather die than have kids like us. I don't know.
Jerk move.
Well, I mean, there may be some people out there who feel, okay, well, you know what? If we can't get rid of these mutants, then none of us deserve to live. That's just very extreme. And there are you're
gonna really go scorched earth.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good term. Yeah, scorching the earth. Like hurting yourselves to hurt other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. There. Look, don't get me wrong. There are people out there who want to do that. Because they want control, and if they can't get it, they're going to take it away from everybody, including themselves. Right. So this is where Bastion is coming from. So I really think it has to do with this hatred that he has been taught growing up, either his mother or his father or both, giving him, putting these false narratives in his head about humanity's going extinct, that there's nothing done to get rid of these mutants, or that, tolerance is extinction, right? That's his term. It's probably something that his mother or father said, right? Like tolerant, meaning like if we tolerate having the mutants with us or live together with us, we're all going to die, right? Which is absolutely false, absolutely wrong.
Like, you wonder why mutants don't like you.
Right. And then that's why he created OZT, right?
See, that's genuinely like stealing somebody's candy that they paid $1 million for and expected them not to go fight you for that stuff back, because that's $1 million. Like, but you took something from them and you expect them not to be upset about it. You just want the mutants to sit there and take it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna take it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So then what this leads to is asteroid M is being used as a weapon, So Bastion is using the asteroid to destroy the Earth. The U.S. retaliate by sending out these missiles to destroy.
Launch the airstrikes, right. And then
to destroy Magnus's home, which The missiles
United
failed.
States Air Force coming in with the air support, launched the nukes.
Mhm.
Tactical nuke deployment.
Mm-hmm. But you know who saves the day? Magnus himself, Magneto. He, comes out of this trance or control that Charles has on
Buddy
him.
really said, "Hot."
Right, and he finally, well, as far as we know, is now listening to Charles, and
For the time being.
right, for the time being, and understands. Okay, all right, Magneto is back. Let's do this. Let's save the Earth. Right. So Magneto,
Let's go.
yes, Magneto is able to maybe put a a force field or some type of electromagnetic field over the asteroid, because it was hurling towards Earth. Right, it was going to destroy North America.
Yeah,
right.
So everybody
he was
gets
able-
together and they bring the asteroid back up with the power of family.
Yeah, right. That's good. Are you being sarcastic?
No.
Well, that's what happens, right? Yeah, exactly.
They use
as
the
family,
power
they try
of
to
family.
they try to save
That's the Fast and Furious.
save
right there.
themselves as well as save humans, right? Right? They did a very unselfish thing to try to save the Earth. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. All right, now look. So, and then all of a sudden the asteroid just disappears. Poof, right? All that's left is some particles that are floating through the air, falling to Earth.
Everybody
Okay,
except Forge,
I know you're concerned about Wolverine. We don't know what happened to
everybody
Wolverine.
except Forge,
Mhm.
Jubilee, and Roberto are stuck elsewhere in time.
Okay, all right, let's talk
Also,
about that.
Bishop.
Okay, Keith.
Uh,
all right, Keith. Here we go. You got it. All right. Okay, so now what happens? So we got parts of the X-Men.
Don't forget when Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Polaris.
Well, I was going to get to that. Yes, right. Okay, let's talk about the cameos. How many cameos did we see in this episode?
Well, there was Doctor Strange.
Yeah, right.
Silver
Come on.
Samurai, T'Chaka, the Dora Milaje, Scarlet.
I didn't see them. I must have missed them.
Quicksilver. They were like right behind T'Chaka.
Oh, okay.
Scarlet, Quick, Polaris.
Now this is interesting. I wonder if anybody else saw this, but this was very quick, because this is when Charles was talking about the ties and having family help you get through it, and then we see Rogue on a boat that's rocking, and then behind her is like shadow, but you can make it out if you pause the image.
You paused it. I didn't.
Yeah, right, because I missed it the first time. But you saw
fan.
it immediately. You saw Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. And then who was the third person again?
Polaris.
And Polaris is the daughter of Magneto?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I wonder if anybody else saw it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Iron Man and Captain America.
That's exactly right. Daredevil.
So Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger.
Ooh, Cloak and Dagger. That was
a good 12, 15 cameos in this one episode.
Very interesting. Cloak and Dagger. There was I think it was a 1 or 2. I don't remember if they were on for 1 season or 2 seasons, but they were the
Freeform show.
A Freeform show. Like yeah, 2. Exactly right. Yeah, 2 seasons.
Yeah,
of it.
I don't know what they were doing with that.
Yeah.
That and the Hellstorm show, and Runaways. And Runaways, Agents of Shield. Agents of Shield got retconned into oblivion. I refuse to acknowledge the existence of that show.
Okay.
It just messes with the canon so much.
Okay.
It's so annoying how they kept bringing back and killing off Coulson.
Yeah, all right.
I don't appreciate that.
All right, let's not go too far off topic. Okay.
Yeah, like all those Hulu Freeform FX shows, whatever that was. I don't know if they're canon or not. I don't think you can find Runways, but I don't think you can find any of the other shows.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay. I don't know if they even remember they exist.
Well, it's fine.
I'd love for Kevin Feige to help me out here.
It was just nice to see Cloak and Dagger. It's like who knew? Okay, but anyway, it was wonderful. These cameos. I was actually hoping that maybe the Avengers would step in and help the X-Men, but that was not the case. All right, so let's figure. Okay, let's talk about.
They're really bad at their jobs.
Let's talk about what's going on here now. So now they are. Well, it looks like the team is split up. So let's talk about Bishop visiting Forge.
So Bishop goes to Forge, and Forge is like, the X-Men are dead. And then Bishop's like, well, no, they're not. The X-Men are alive. This is not our... I'm going to stop doing that. This is not our first rodeo. The X-Men are still alive. And, we're going to go find them. So we're doing this again.
Yeah.
This...
So where are they? So
I'm so not interested.
In what, the multiverse?
Why are they doing this?
Well, apparently it's a part of... I believe this is what took place in the comics as well. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But why not? I mean, but what this whole season is an adaptation of some of the events from the comic books.
Okay.
So you're saying that this, half of them going back in time and Cyclops and Jean in the future should not happen? I don't find
it particularly interesting.
But we don't know what's going to happen. How do you know it's not going to be interesting? We don't know what's going to happen. How many
times we had our heroes split up in different times or something?
Okay.
That's literally the plot of Loki in a nutshell.
Well, okay.
Avengers Endgame.
I hear you, but it's intriguing to me because they're split up for one thing.
Quantumania.
Yeah. So I'm wondering.
They do this a lot, literally all the Avengers movies.
Okay. So I'm wondering, if you have the Avengers going back to the X-Men going back to 3000 BC, all right? And they
meet N7, or aka Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, right. So the events...
scary.
Okay. Are they going to change the events that's going to impact Jean and Scott in the future, where they are in 3960 AD?
Well, that rambling that Hulk gave, where he's like, that future makes a new future, and that
this is in Endgame, right?
That future makes a new future. Your past can't now be changed by that past future.
What is that?
Basically, if you go back in time, you're not changing your future. You're just making a branched timeline.
So you're saying that what will happen back in 3000 BC is not going to have any impact on the future?
No.
Or the present?
Yeah. Or they could go scorched earth and just be like, it doesn't matter. And then just retcon everything Hulk said. And then, just kind of destroy the past and present and future.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting. But okay. I don't know if anyone is out there who actually read these X-Men comics and have any idea what's happening, why they split up the X-Men, why there's some are in the past and some of them are in the future. Yeah. But does this have anything to do? Look, I'm just thinking about the title of the movie, Days of Future Past. Did you see the movie?
No.
No. Okay. I didn't see it either. So I don't know if maybe
we'll watch it together. I'll bring the popcorn.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Mom, did you see Days of Future Past?
I did.
Okay. All right.
She did. You saw all of them, right? The X-Men.
Okay.
I did.
All right.
Okay. She saw all the X-Men movies.
All right. So I don't know. I don't know if this has anything to do with that film, Future Past. I mean, we don't know. Anyway.
Is Evan Peters in that one? Quicksilver?
Days of Future Past? No, I don't think so.
And Dark Phoenix too.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the end credits. All right. Post credits. Okay.
So Apocalypse, bro, says
you got this one.
So much destruction, so much death. And then I literally stood up, flipped my chair, and said, "Yo, they're doing it."
And I said, "Doing what?" And you said, "They're doing it." And then I said, "Doing what?"
So I was doing.
So please explain.
I was doing my research for episode 9, and well, actually, as I was doing my research for episode 9, I happened to calculate that that Magneto would survive, and also that Wolverine would survive, and he would slowly become feral. I'm gonna stop doing this. He would slowly become feral because his healing factor and his mutant gene were so busy fighting to stop his adamantium poisoning that I guess his mutant genes just never came out. And then he fights Sabretooth, and Apocalypse steals his adamantium and gives it to Logan, and then Logan becomes the Horseman of Death.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
So he said death, and I put Apocalypse and Death together, and I'm like, boom.
Okay. So this is how Logan's going to get his adamantium back. So it's going to come from Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you tell me who is Sabretooth?
Logan's worst enemy.
Okay. And
he also tends to drop off a fun surprise for Logan on his birthday.
So apparently they both have adamantium. Well, at some point.
Sure, yeah.
Right. And we don't, I'm assuming that they got them in different ways, but they have it. All right.
I think they were both part of the same experiment, though.
Okay. All right. That's
Weapon X.
Okay. Got it. All right.
So, I really hope we see Deadpool in season 2.
So now you're saying that Apocalypse is going to, I don't know how, but he's going to take Sabretooth's adamantium and give it to
They
Logan.
used a machine in the comics.
Okay. And why would he do that? Why would he
make Wolverine more powerful?
Okay. What is it about Wolverine that Apocalypse is so interested in?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess he's like cool.
Okay.
And they needed a way to get Wolverine out of his current predicament.
Yeah. And he becomes one of the 4 horsemen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. So doesn't look like we have any Q&A. So we're going to wrap it up. Let's see. So overall, what are your overall thoughts of this series?
10 out of 10. Would watch again.
Now, that's very good. Now, when was the last time we really enjoyed a Marvel series as much as we did watching this series?
Yeah.
What do you think? What if maybe season 2 might have been the closest? Yeah, I think that was hit and miss. Echo, hit and miss. You don't even want to talk about Echo. Okay. I'm not going to even mention Secret Invasion. Right. So, all right. Clearly.
See, now I'm still upset about that show. Graphic is logically such a weird villain.
Yeah.
Dude literally left Nick Fury on the machine to get his powers. So even if the radiation killed him, he does kind of have the powers of Captain Marvel and the super soldier serum of Captain America. And those are some very powerful resistance factors. So even if the radiation from all those powers killed him, it probably wouldn't, because he just got the powers of some very powerful people. You mean to tell me that Graphic didn't think about that and he just left him there?
All right, so clearly we did not like Secret Invasion. All right, which we have not, which we, we've mentioned that already.
That's well documented enough already.
So, all right, so let's answer this question for me if you can. Why is this series, X-Men'97 season 1, so successful?
For one thing, it was well written.
I totally agree with that.
I had trouble finding any plot holes in the show. And I wasn't exactly looking, but this whole team really got together and wrote the best script they could, and it's amazing.
That's good. I like that.
I want a second season.
Well, there will be a second.
I want it now. You know, I want an animated multiverse. You know how DC was doing their whole animated thing and doing movies at the same time?
Yeah. Okay.
I want them to do that for Marvel. Have your team working on animation and have your team working on television and have your team working on the main Marvel Studios movies.
Well, don't you think they're doing that now?
Yeah, but I'm I want them all working at once. I want maximum workload. I want to get X-Men'97 season 2. I want to get Spider-Man 98. I want to get Iron Man 99, Cap 2000, whatever. And then I want to get my Agatha the Lying Witch with a Great Wardrobe, or whatever they're calling this movie or show. The Ironheart, Daredevil, and then I want to get my new Spider-Man movie, my Avengers movie. I want it all.
So
I want a 7-course meal of Marvel shows and movies. I want it all on a silver platter.
So superhero fatigue for you does not exist. There's no such thing. Okay, all right.
No. Seriously though,
Yeah.
I want more shows, but I want them to be more high quality.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm pumped for Deadpool 3.
Yes.
If I'll ever be able to see it.
Well, we'll see. Okay.
Yeah, you've been seeing since like
May
March.
It's coming out in July. We still got
You've
time.
Been seeing since
we
March.
got time to make a decision on this. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But I'm in agreement with you. I like what you said about. I think this is probably one of the best, well-written series I have watched. We could, and we may still do it. We haven't really talked about it or thought it out, but we could probably do an episode on just the best lines of dialogue.
Make a Spider-Woman 99.
Okay, the best lines of dialogue from this season. Because I'm talking about something and you're talking about something.
Yeah, but
else.
I mean, like, they have Iron Man, Silver Surfer,
we've
the
been
Hulk,
through that
Captain
already.
America, Spider-Man Unlimited.
When do
they
I
have
talk?
all of that in one world, and they need to tap into it.
When do I talk?
Now.
Okay, thank you. All right. So yeah, we could just spend an entire episode just talking about the best quotes of the season. I mean, because the dialogue is so sharp, so well written. Absolutely, stuff like that. So it's a shout out to these writers. Bo DeMaio is the showrunner for the first season. He and his team did a spectacular job on this series. I did not watch the original. I know I keep saying that, but I got to remind people that I have not. So I am seeing this to me like the very first time, right? And I'm not up on the comic books.
Yeah, it's nice. X-Men.
But from what I have watched from these 10 episodes, it's stellar. And I didn't have to have seen X-Men from the 90s. I didn't have to read all the comic books to really appreciate and understand it. So that's why I really enjoyed this season. The acting, of course, spectacular. The animation is wonderful. It is like a comic book coming to life. So yeah.
You know what's nice though?
Yes.
X-Men animated series didn't feel like required reading to understand X-Men 97.
I agree. Yeah.
Neither did the comics.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Like, as somebody who never really finished the animated show and wasn't big on the comics, like, I haven't picked up a single issue. I think it was really easy to get into X-Men 97 without having to be, like, fully immersed in the lore. Like, how with Infinity War, you had to watch Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man and the previous Avengers movies and Iron Man and Captain America to understand this film. And then with Endgame, you had to watch Infinity War and everything before it.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
Right. You had to prepare. You had to really plan ahead in order to follow. But
it's like you had to watch everything else to understand this one movie.
Okay. All right. So Keith, as we wrap up, I don't know if you know about what's happening this past week, but there is something going on.
The Disney Upfront.
Yes, exactly. Wow.
That's such a weird name, like Disney Upfront.
Yeah.
What are they being candid? Like, upfront, guys, we're losing sales. Like, what?
That's exactly what's happening. Is like, so what they're doing is trying to attract advertisers for the shows, right?
We'll advertise for you, Disney. Just send us screeners, and we'll do as much advertising as you need.
Right. But when you advertise for a show, you actually have to pay the studio to advertise, right?
Shouldn't the studio pay you?
Well, no, it works.
No,
Keith.
Why would you pay them to advertise their stuff?
Well, here, this is how it works. So the advertisers actually pay the studio, right? And in turn, the advertisers get paid by people buying their products.
That's bonker balls.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So,
imagine your ad flops.
Anything. Well, right. Well, anything is possible. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I would like to see maybe if we can have a discussion about it maybe sometime next week and talk about the upfronts, things that are coming up for Disney related to Marvel or Star Wars or both. All right. So maybe that's something that we can talk about.
Shut up, monster.
Yeah, well, maybe that's something we can talk about next week. Okay. But outside of that, I think, did we cover everything for these 3 episodes?
We sure did.
Yeah. Okay. And then we're looking forward to season 2. Don't know when it's going to happen. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for joining us. This was wonderful, and we did it under an hour. 50 minutes,
That's
not
enough.
bad. Okay. All right. Do you have the energy to tell people where they can find us?
Get a business card.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then
Hey, you can
head
find
on.
us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram
Yeah.
at Fathers and Galaxy. Website fathersandgalaxy.com. Please donate to our Patreon page, patreon.com/fathersandgalaxy, and our merch store, fathersandgalaxy.myfriendshop.com.
That's very energetic of you. Well, thank you so much, everyone. All right. So I guess we're done. Until next time. Take care.